Now, let's look at the different states available to us. The first thing, initialization. Open this and we know that the system exception will be nothing for the first time, and this part will be executed when we are having the first run. So because the first time configuration variable, which is a dictionary, is nothing, it will go into it, and this particular XAML will be executed where we are initializing a dictionary, and then we are trying to read all the particular sheets from this configuration file, which is available to us in this particular folder. Once that is done, so here it will try to add everything over here. And the other thing right here, what we can see is there's something that we haven't discussed earlier. What it will try to do is it will try to read this particular file, which is assets. The first code that we have seen, this sequence will help us to read settings and constants because they are of similar kind. And the second sequence, which we can term as initializing assets, here what will happen is this particular read range will try to read this sheet, and here you can declare the name of the asset that you want to use, and then the name of that particular asset, how it is available in the orchestrator. So this thing we will try to read it when we actually use it in our project. Okay, how this thing happens and all that. Okay, once that is done, so here for just for a quick discussion, here it will try to read the files of it, and it will move from one. Suppose I have mentioned ABC in the orchestrate in this particular config file, and the name of that in the orchestrator is say ABC cred. Okay, so what will happen right now is this will go into the dictionary, and this will be the key of it, and this will be the value to it. Okay, by using which we'll be able to fetch the credentials of it, right? Fine, so that we can later use it in somewhere in our project to fetch the orchestrator assets. Don't be confused about it. We'll be looking at how we can actually fetch the values from the orchestrator anyway. So once that is done, the next thing that we have to go through is in orchestrator queue name. As we have already discussed this thing, if we are able to provide it from the orchestrator input parameters, it will try to add it, else it will pick the value from this particular available thing. It will take the value from here if you are not providing the value over there from the orchestrator. Then we are trying to kill the applications, if any, to maintain a clean environment, and here it will add some logs. You can just go to the properties and look at what are the different logs it is trying to log. Okay, as you can see, log if business process name. If I just move on to here, so this is the name. Okay, whatever process you're trying to execute. Logging field will allow grouping of log files of two or more subprocesses under the same business process name. You can mention your subprocessors right there. And then here, the final thing in initialization, as we know, init all applications flow. I will just open it, and as we have already discussed, the things that we have to perform is we have to read the data from the queue and then the data entry part, and then send out the email. For that to happen, okay, so fetching of items from the queue, we'll be doing that right here. Okay, but for now because we have to later do some data entry part. Here we will try to launch that particular application. To do that, go to the activities and use application. Here you will find open application. So in the project file, I have copied that application. You can just double click on that. It will be available to you in the source code. Once that is done, I'm going back to the code right here and try to indicate that particular screen. Click F2 and then launch this and just indicate the screen, the desktop application. As you can see, it has taken the path of it and the selector of that. Okay, so this should actually launch my desktop application, right? Before doing that, what we can do is, as we already know, here the value of it, this particular thing is hard coded, but we want that to be configurable. Reach out to the configuration file that you have, and here app path, and then try to copy that, because we know this is available in the root folder. You can directly mention that right over there. Okay, just copy it by clicking shift and right click, copy this, go back to this, and then can either put that right here. Now I will just go to this particular file and I will paste the path right here, so it's there in this particular location. Going back to the code, as we know, we already have the configuration file, the configuration variable, the dictionary available to us in this. I'll go here, select this, and then go here and here, just remove that, and then in configuration of app path, the name that we have mentioned earlier, app path dot to string. Click on OK. Fine, that we have made this path a configurable thing, as we can see here. Now we know that sometimes the app might fail, right? To handle that, we can use Retry Scope. Just try, and here it is. Just take this code into this, and then, so how can we confirm if an app was launched? To do that, just use element exist, drag it here, and then try to spy something. I'm trying to spy the headlines of it, Excel cult. Okay, if you just go back to the target, showing us the name Excel cult, label heading. Okay, with that done, let's decide the number of retries it has to perform. Try it for 3 times and do it with an interval of 10 seconds. Perfect. So it's all good. Moving on to here, I have to close the Excel file, save it and close it. So right here, after init all applications, I'll just place a message box so that we can see it's functioning perfectly. Here, done. Okay, let me close this instance, debug. Okay, it has failed because could not find an orchestrator with the name. Just stop it, and okay, right here what we have done is, while showing to you that we can save the orchestrator assets in this way, I have just saved these details. Just delete it because it was unable to find an asset with the name abc underscore cred. Okay, so that was the mistake. Close it and back to our code. Just try to run it once again. Okay, as you can see, it was able to launch this particular desktop application. So we have done it correctly, so we can stop it so that we can go ahead and move on to get transaction data state. Before that, logging whatever we do is a good practice. So you can just start doing that. Here you can place a log message saying select info and then app launch successfully. Okay, fine. So there are different type of loggings that we can do. If that is an error you want to indicate, you can say error. If you want to display some warning to the user, you can use warning. If that is a kind of trace, then you can use trace. For the us it's an information, so I have selected information. That was about the initialization stage that we have implemented.